Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to Coffee with Kem Hills. The way we are dressed does not reflect the weather. I will tell you that much.
Very true.
Also, we didn't plan this.
We did not. We both showed up in denim jackets with dresses on because that's the way you roll when there's AC.
Yes, I know. I was like, there better be AC today because I'm doing that denim look. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yes.
Because it's hot and humid outside here on the East Coast. And
yeah, it is brutal. Like summers on the East Coast are just like, look at you.
I did see a meme the other day, and it was just talking about how there is nothing, like, although the heat is hard to handle, there is still also nothing better about the lazy days of summer. Not that, like, I really get many lazy days, but just, like, with the heat and just kind of the frame of mind that people get put in of being outside and having more, I feel like there's more interactions with neighbors and with the community because you're just outside more. There's just nothing better than that kind of like old school fun.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when, I've lived all over the city, but when I was living in Washington Heights, I remember it was like something out of a film or like Hey Arnold.
In the Heights, maybe?
Maybe in the Heights film. But it would like, you'd go outside and there'd be like a fire hydrant spraying water and like kids running through it. You know what I mean? And it was like a very like, I don't know, this community feel, and people would be playing their music outside and having barbecues and put lawn chairs outside their apartment buildings. And there was kind of this like vibrancy to the heat. It like brought everyone out, which is weird. You think they'd want to stay in? I don't know. But yeah. I'm more of like I like a nice summer storm. Like that makes me want to just like, I just love that feeling when it's been really hot and then it just kind of like pours from the sky and but it's that warm rain and you can like open the windows and it's, I don't know.
All right.
I like storms though. I don't know.
Do you like thunderstorms?
I
like
love
is
a
the
thunderstorm.
lightning situation a thing for you?
I'm into it.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But I also like Halloween and horror movies, so I mean.
And I really like lightning bugs. Like I like a hot, steamy night where you can see lots of fireflies.
I like lightning bugs.
This
is why we're the perfect match. Yin and yang over here. But in denim.
Exactly. You know, light denim, dark denim. That's the way we roll.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's funny. I know, it's like when I ask you if you've watched certain things, you're like, oh yeah, I'm not watching that.
Yeah. We were talking about Stranger Things earlier, and I was like, nope, not watching that. You can ruin it all for me. It's like, totally fine. Like, I know it's good. It's just not
dark.
My bag.
Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah, it's okay.
Especially this last season, I was like, you'd go in there. I love it. All right. Well, we've got some hot topics.
It's hot outside, and we've got some hot topics.
And iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
I know iced coffee in a mug is kind of like confusing, but I mean, it's just the way it is. We need some like iced mugs with ROI on it.
Next summer.
Get everyone in the summer vibes. Okay, so this is from Wealth. Wealthy business owners are at the center of fight over the Biden tax plan. Okay, so for those who don't know about it, this plan involves expanding Medicare funding through tax hikes, tacking on an 3.8 net investment income tax to the profits pass-through entities distribute to their owners. I had to do some research on this because I didn't really know what that was.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
See if you can explain this to everybody.
I wrote it down because I think if I try and explain it myself, I'm going to not help anyone's understanding. Okay, so companies typically register as a pass-through entity in order to avoid double taxation because, right, you have your business account and your personal account, and you can be taxed on both. So therefore, adding more tax will certainly annoy those people, considering that that's what they were trying to avoid. So the pass-through helps you avoid having to be double taxed.
Right. So you would be only pay. So if you're a business owner, you pay on your income tax what you actually take as a salary, And then typically it's a different different tax rate on what you would take home as like profits, or if you're taking home some additional money from the business because it's profitable.
Okay, so this should only affect individuals who are earning more than $400,000 a year
in income coming from their pass-through business.
Right.
Now, the hard thing is that there's over 1 million pass-through businesses in the U.S. And, for example, the article talks about how 95% of the businesses in West Virginia, which is one of the states that has a senator who's highly skeptical of the Biden tax plan, our friend Joe Manchin.
Right.
So 95% of businesses in West Virginia are pass-through businesses. So that's a high amount. And so he is very weary of what this tax plan is going to do and how much it's going to affect his constituents because of this.
Right. I thought they made a little point that I thought was interesting. Okay. The patriotic millions. I've not heard,
the patriotic millionaires.
Yeah. Who are a group of progressive, wealthy Americans. All right. So they said in the letter to senators, it would be very unfortunate and a missed opportunity if Congress were to pass such an important legislation and not specifically increase tax rates on billionaires and the ultra rich.
So this is another piece that's also on the table about whether or not billionaires and anybody, there's a 5% surcharge for people earning over 10 million a year and a additional 3% surcharge for anybody earning over 25 million. So these patriotic millionaires are saying, we need to keep this in here, even though they might be people who are paying this.
Right.
I think the hard thing to always take into consideration, in my opinion,
we like this,
is we always hear, especially in the news and from politicians, that tax the rich to pay for Medicare, Medicaid, this is the important thing we need to do.
Yeah.
They can afford it. Yeah, they probably can, but they also can afford accountants and tax preparers and financial advisors and all these other things that help them not pay as much tax, which is why we also, every April hear about how Jeff Bezos pays taxes on 1% or pays a 1% tax versus your average American is paying 30 something.
They have very
percent.
savvy people working for them that find the loopholes, don't they?
Exactly. So there's definitely, it's like a political tactic in my opinion, because you can pass this bill,
but they'll still find a way not to.
They're still going to find a way to decrease their income enough.
Right.
To only pay possibly the extra 5% surcharge tax.
Right. They'd have to change a lot of other things about the tax system in order to really be able to change, how they're paying their taxes.
Exactly. To actually get the amount of money that is projected from these millionaires in order to fund all these different programs that we want to fund.
Ooh, that's a whole other wind down. that's like a wind down topic right there.
Exactly.
If we had the energy to go down that slippery slope.
Maybe we do.
Maybe we
Stay
do.
tuned.
Stay tuned. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back with more hot topics. Welcome back, everyone. We've got another hot topic for you with our cold coffee.
This one's kind of a juicy one.
Yeah, it is.
I think so.
It's a juicy topic in general. But maybe, becoming a little less juicy?
Well, I think that's what the article kind of talks about. So we both read an article by The New Yorker that says prenups aren't just for rich people anymore. And I think it's kind of cool. It's an interesting article if you want to read it yourself. But yeah,
we don't have enough time to cover everything it goes into, because it really it goes into the history of
which was really cool.
And
there were prenups in French colonial America.
Yeah, it is really cool. I mean, I was
because women had more leverage because there weren't enough women.
That's right. Yeah, it is interesting. It really is. But actually, when I read the title, I guess I'm within the generation that they're talking about. I was like, well, no, of course it's not just for rich people.
Yeah. And I think, they talk about the history because I think it is an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a stigma that prenups are for rich people.
Mm-hmm.
It is to protect, wealthy, typically older males from gold dicking females.
Yep.
Now, sometimes that's a reversal, or it's to protect generational wealth of somebody.
That's the stereotype carry through, really.
Right.
Totally. I mean, yeah. I mean, we're like aware of that storyline, aren't we?
But attitudes are changing, which I think is really good.
Well, yeah, because people are a lot of families, both parties are working, right? And so it's the dynamics have shifted.
And typically people are getting married later in life, so they might already have some wealth of their own or some other money issues. So one of the things that they talk about in the article is that it's actually being used and people are going to prenups because of debt these days.
So whether protect themselves from their partner's debt.
Student loans or
I'll
medical
I'll marry you, but I'm not taking on that debt. Sorry, honey.
Exactly. Exactly. Which I think is an interesting attitude and a huge shift in what prenups, traditionally were, right?
Yep.
Your rich BFF had, who's a TikToker also on Instagram. I follow her. She's really funny.
So cool.
I think she had an interesting
Is that her name, your rich BFF?
Yeah, that's her screen name.
I was like, who's rich BFF?
Yeah.
Mine?
Like, is she yours? I don't know.
I don't think so.
She's mine, at least on Instagram. But she did a whole thing on prenups and how helpful they are.
Yeah.
And she talks about how, if we can't, because there's such a stigma about prenups, like if we can't talk about money before we get married, then when will we?
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is such an interesting point.
You're going to run into that roadblock at some point, aren't you? And so, if you can come to that place of comfort in talking about your finances, as we talk about all the time, and just being more transparent and comfortable with it, like normalizing talking about finances, because it can be this really uncomfortable topic, then, I mean, you're setting yourself and your relationship up for success. Because I don't think any of us, like, if something happened to us I know some divorces are messy, but like, what if it's not a divorce? Like, what if you're in a horrible accident or something happens? It's protecting yourself, protecting your spouse, and as we know, like anything can happen.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. They talk about in the article the story of this woman in Arizona who is dating a guy later on in life. Both of them had been previously married. Arizona is a community property state, so it's 50-50 if you get divorced or death.
That's interesting too. All the states, like you really have to check with your state and see like what the rules are in that state, because they all vary.
But it was really interesting. They ended up getting married after being together for 10 years, not because neither of them wanted to get married again, but her husband, or ended up being her husband, got very sick with cancer and was dying. And he wanted to get married, but they signed a prenup beforehand so that it really separated their assets, including his medical debt that he incurred while he was going through cancer treatments.
Yep.
And so after he passed away, which was pretty quickly after they got married, she wasn't liable for or on the hook for that medical debt.
Yeah, and it
which is crazy.
She said days after he passed, like collectors were already calling her and saying like, "Where's the money?" And so
and she's like, talk to his lawyer.
It's savage. Yeah, talk to his lawyer.
I got a prenup.
So, I mean, there are perks to it. And I think like people romanticize marriage in a way that like we don't always think logically about like what is actually best for all of us, and that we just don't know what the future holds. And I think there's something romantic in being able to like talk about anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
We just have to change our way of thinking, and I think, we are, and it does become complicated too. They pointed out in the article when, there's somebody that is staying at home and raising the children. Like, what are you entitled to? Because that's a job, right? It's an agreement. And so, like, maybe putting something in writing so that you can, like, kind of protect yourself and what you are contributing, even though you're not monetarily contributing, you're contributing. You know? So
they had an interesting story about, there was one prenup that a researcher came across where the husband had to pay a monthly amount into the partner's retirement account, even though they were staying at home.
Right.
So, and it has to do on the amount for the previous 12 months of work. So, before the partner quit work to take care of the family.
Right.
And there was a penalty if a monthly payment was missed. There was a 5% interest. I was just like, yeah, girl, make sure you're getting your retirement account.
That's so true.
I think it's so true.
Yeah, I think, and it makes you feel a little bit more independent and like financially independent. And we talk about financial wellness, and I do think that just mentally will put you in a better mindset, even if like, oh, I'm doing a job here, but just having sort of that financial independence, it would feel good, I think. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back to talk a little bit more about prenups. Welcome back, everyone. Back to prenups, which, at one point was maybe considered like a hush-hush, like, I don't want to talk about it topic, but here we are talking about it, and it's okay.
It's okay, people.
You know what?
They even talked about it on Summer House on Bravo TV, so...
Is it good?
I mean... It's great reality television.
I like my reality television. So
then yes, you will.
I need that mindless
totally
escapism in my life. You know what I mean?
But they bring up some real topics like prenups.
Yeah, and they're that younger generation of. Oh, I didn't even talk about the how popular the prenups are based on generations at this point, because. Okay, so 12 years ago, a poll was done on married and engaged couples showing that only 3% signed a prenup, okay? So today, we are at 15%. 40% of those between the ages of 18 and 34, which is the biggest amount. Okay, 40% of that.
Yeah.
13% of those between 45 and 54, and under 5% for those 55 and above.
So it's definitely a generational thing.
Yeah, it's becoming more
normalized.
Yay!
Which is great.
Yeah, it is great. And as we're learning, there's so many reasons for it as well. So we're just changing our mind frame. But we do that about a lot of things. We have to. That's how we progress.
We do. And I think it's interesting. We were kind of talking over the break about how there are, because marriage laws and divorce laws and all these vary state to state. So some are community property laws where it's 50-50 split if you don't have a prenup in place. Yeah. Some are not. Some, you might sign a prenup and it might not be valid. So there's a lot of hoops to go through in order to make sure that your prenup is going to be recognized.
Because can you imagine if you do a prenup and then you get a divorce and then they're like, no, we're not going to enforce that. You'd be like, excuse me? Yeah, that's...
Yeah, and be like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Of course it's complicated. Yeah. But that's why you talk to people who specialize in these areas, right?
Exactly. Well, I feel like we could keep talking about prenups, but
it's so much fun.
Maybe we'll save it for another day.
Yes.
And in the meantime, we'll tell you about the shows that are going to be coming onto ROI TV today.
All right. I just want to remind everyone not to miss today's episodes of Mortgage Q&A, Cunningham Legal, Medicare School, and Elder Needs Law. Such great shows, and you can see them all on ROI TV. Well, we already know you can see it on Distro TV now.
We're on Distro TV, which is really exciting.
It is really exciting, but take it away. Where else?
You can also find us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or on your iOS or Android device.
Yay! So please check us out. Come on, come support financial wellness and literacy.
Gain some financial literacy on ROI TV.
That's right. All right, we will see you tomorrow with another episode of Coffee with Kem Hills.